One more time for Paul. Big round of applause.
Good evening, boils and ghouls. Welcome to the latest chilling installment of the Moth, Fear. I call this tasty tidbit of terror Night Knock. The rest of the story is not going to sound like that. Just wanted a Tales from the Crypt type opening. So this happened about 3 years ago. I'm living in the same apartment that I'm in now. It's a two-story building. There's 10 units. I live in apartment number 10, and each apartment has a stairwell that goes up. Mine's all the way in the back, and it's a private stairwell that goes all the way up to our door. So one night, I'm home alone by myself. I'm asleep in the middle of the night, and I'm a really heavy sleeper. I'm very difficult to wake up when I'm sleeping. But I am just very violently woken up out of a deep slumber by what feels like someone standing at the foot of my bed, grabbing my ankle and hoisting my leg up into the air. So I wake up on my back. I immediately wake up, and I'm looking at my leg, which is just up in the air, like higher than I can even get it. And I swear, right as I wake up, I can feel fingertips around my ankles. Even though the room is dark, I'm looking around and I can see that there's no one actually in the room. But I just wake up like screaming. I'm like, let go of me, let go. And I'm scooting up to the head of the bed, away from the foot of the bed. And I'm terrified. And I'm also very disoriented and confused because I can hear someone at the top of my stairwell just pounding on my front door. I have a black metal security door, and it's really difficult to see through, and the light at the top of our stairwell had been burned out for a few months. So I know they couldn't see through the screen door, but I'm sitting in bed, I'm just listening to someone pounding on the door, like, boom, 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 open the door, boom, 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 let me in. And then I'm just sitting there terrified, and I can't even move, and then they start saying really crazy shit, like, boom, 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 the old lady, she's coming for you. Which was like the last thing I wanted to hear in that moment, right? I'm sitting there, I'm already just like at peak terrified, the most frightened I've ever been in my life. The last thing I want is this maniac in my stairwell saying some shit about an old lady coming for me. Like, I'm so freaked out in that moment. Like, if I hear some soft cackling coming from inside my closet and some spooky old bitch starts peering out, I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. Like, in the moment, I'm that scared. If I see anything in my room, I will die right in that moment. And I'm looking at my cell phone and I'm thinking, like, I need to call the cops. And you know when you're watching a scary movie and there's just a very easy moment of self-preservation that someone can do, and you're shouting them at the screen to do it, and then they don't do it, and you're like, that's so unrealistic, what an idiot. Like, I was that unrealistic idiot. I was just looking at my phone, and then I never called the cops. I just sat there listening to this person in my stairwell saying all this weird stuff, and then eventually he kind of stops talking, and then I hear his footsteps kind of retreating down my stairwell, and then it's just totally silent in my apartment. So, I start trying to rationalize things like, okay, it was just a drunk person. He somehow found my stairwell. I was having an aggressive dream, and I had like a leg spasm, and I start calming myself down, and eventually I kind of start dozing back off, and then I'm woken up again by the same voice. Hey, wake up. Now this time it's closer, because it's right outside my bedroom window. And I'm still on the second floor, so I'm not afraid anyone's climbing in or anything like that. And I start thinking, okay, now this is just a person who's like terrorizing my apartment complex. There's 9 other units. As long as this person isn't like specifically threatening me, I shouldn't be very scared, right? And then he says, hey, number 10. I'm talking to you. She's coming for you. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck? This isn't fair. And I don't turn my bedroom light on because I don't want him to know that anyone's home, but I go up to the window and I just kind of peek through the blinds, and he's down on the first floor, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, so there's no lights on. It's very dark out there, and all I can see is just kind of a nondescript kind of silhouette just standing there looking up at my window. So I'm like, oh, okay, like fuck that, and I crawl up into a ball in my bed and I pull the covers over me like I'm 10 years old. I'm terrified, and I'm just sitting there praying that this ghostly visage that I just saw is not actually outside my window talking to me, and I'm just praying to fall back asleep and let it be morning. And eventually I do. I fall asleep. I wake up in the morning. Sunlight is beaming through my windows. Suddenly I'm like 10 times braver, and I'm like, fucking made it. I'm going to go out to my stairwell, make sure I didn't vandalize anything. So I go out, and my front door is still closed and locked, thank God. I go up to the door, I unlock my door, I open it, and when I replay this in my head, it still just gives me chills because on the outside of my door, my house keys are just hanging out of the door. And he couldn't have seen them through the black screen, but if he had gotten through that door, he would have just been able to walk into my apartment. And thankfully, he just started pounding on the door instead of going for the doorknob because I had left my screen door unlocked. Oh, and it creeps me out even thinking about it. So remember, boils and ghouls, lock your doors at night with the keys on the inside, because one night at 3 o'clock in the morning, some person is gonna come to your door announcing how you're gonna die, and you don't want them to get inside unless the thing they're making an announcement about is already inside your room, waiting at the foot of your bed.
Come on for Paul.